Hello and welcome to this week's newscast from Power Engineering International. I'm Kelvin Ross. In this week's headlines, Bloomberg New Energy Finance identifies 5 major shifts in the global power market over the next 25 years. The second phase of an experimental Japanese floating offshore wind turbine has been successfully completed. And global consultancy EY tells the UK's new government to end conflicting messages around the country's future energy mix. A report from Bloomberg New Energy Finance forecasts that global power generation will experience 5 dominant trends over the next 25 years, putting unprecedented pressure on energy companies, utilities and policymakers. The New Energy Outlook report, which is published this week, identifies 5 major shifts that will take place between now and 2040. The first is that a further decline in the cost of PV technology will drive a $3.7 trillion surge in investment in solar, both large and small scale. Secondly, some $2.2 trillion of this will go on rooftop and other local PV systems, handing consumers and businesses the ability to generate their own electricity, to store it using batteries, and in parts of the developing world, to access power for the first time. Thirdly, the march of energy-efficient technologies in areas such as lighting and air conditioning will help to limit growth in global power demand to 1.8% per year, which is down from 3% per year between 1990 and 2012. Bloomberg's fourth forecast is that natural gas will not be the transition fuel to wean the world off coal. North American shale gas will change the gas market, but coal-to-gas switching will be mainly a US story. Many developing nations will instead opt for a twin track of coal and renewables. And lastly, the report states that despite investment of $8 trillion in renewables, there will still be enough legacy fossil fuel plants and enough investment in new coal-fired capacity in developing countries to ensure that global CO2 emissions rise all the way to 2029 and will still be 13% above 2014 levels in 2040. The Bloomberg analysis finds that some $12 trillion will be invested in global power generation between 2015 and 2040, with only 22% of that taking place in OECD countries, against 78% in power-hungry emerging markets. And the report also states that even in 2040, fossil fuels will still account for 44% of world generation. The second phase of an experimental Japanese floating offshore wind turbine has been successfully completed. A 7-megawatt oil-pressure drive-type wind turbine, which is the largest in the world, has been assembled on a 3-column semi-submersible platform at Onahama Port. In the project's next phase, which is due to begin later this month, the platform will be delivered to the testing area. The subsequent phase will also include assembly, setup and delivery of an additional 5-megawatt downwind-type floating wind turbine, as well as the connection of both turbines to a subsea power cable. The project is due to enter its demonstration phase in December. The attractiveness of the UK renewable sector remains marred by conflicting messages around its role in the country's future energy mix, according to a report from analysts at EY. EY's latest Renewable Energy Country Attractiveness Index ranks the UK in 8th place, which is its lowest level for 12 years. The study states that last month's general election result, in which the Conservatives won a majority, ending the party's 5-year coalition with the Liberal Democrats, should now act as a springboard to stimulate renewables investment. EY says the UK must seize the opportunity of post-election political stability to reconcile its contradictory energy objectives and reboot the attractiveness of its renewable energy market. Ben Warren of EY said that the frustration of the renewables sector stems from a fundamental inconsistency between the government's rhetoric and its actions. Despite championing a market-driven energy sector, he said policymakers are clearly picking winners and losers and ignoring signals from the market that onshore wind and solar PV can deliver affordable energy. Warren said that the government is chasing climate change targets while favouring more expensive projects to the detriment of more cost-competitive renewable energy technologies that also have the backing of the public. And Warren also warned that a proposed EU referendum is also fuelling further uncertainty over the future UK energy policy that could hinder investment. He said the government's new pledge to hold a referendum on UK membership of the EU within the next 2 years has prompted nervousness around the UK's commitment to long-term decarbonisation targets if it's no longer bound by EU directives. He warned that this could see energy companies developing contingency plans in the event of an outvote. That's all for this week. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.